Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, community coach, podcaster, and author. And I have a fellow author in the studio, too. I've got her book right here. So here it is. Okay. So, Nancy, for those that don't know you, tell our community and our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And then we'll get into our podcast.
Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you for having me again. It is a true pleasure, and I really appreciate it. My name is Nancy Longevan. I am a keynote speaker, a high performance coach, a microbiologist. I also work at a hospital, and my partner and I own a fitness training facility as well as founders of Unbound Synergy Academy. Life has taken me through a lot of twists and turns. I have had to overcome a lot of adversity. However, all of those points, difficult points in my life, had led me to where I am now. And they truly have been a blessing. Looking back, not that they were easy, but looking back, they have been a blessing because now I have really discovered what my purpose is. And my purpose has changed a lot throughout life, but now it has become very clear. And I am here to just help other people dream again, rediscover hope and purpose, and begin enjoying life once again. So it has been quite a journey, but I truly feel blessed. And the work that I'm doing now, amazing. I'm so excited.
Oh, I love that. I do think when I am out in the community, dreaming is something that a lot of people don't do enough of. So
Absolutely.
tell our viewers, like, when you just mentioned what you have going on, I mean, it's not like there's just a few things. You stay really busy. So
Mhm.
how are you managing your day? Give us an idea of when Nancy wakes up, how does she set priorities and focus for the day?
You hit the keyword priorities. As a fellow high performance coach, we learn the importance of setting priorities because as we go through life, more and more things get added onto our plate. And if we're just spread out into a million things, we're not going to perform at our highest level.
Mhm.
So the key is priorities. What is the needle mover? What is going to help me achieve what I'm setting out to do uh, in the quickest, most efficient way? And when we work on that first at the beginning of the day, and once that is accomplished, and then start working on the rest, it just makes it that much easier. So my day begins, number one, with gratitude. Always,
Mhm.
as soon as I wake up in the morning, it's just being grateful for another day because I know that so many people don't get that chance, and I truly feel blessed. After that, I like to move. I'm somebody who really thrives on getting that energy from exercise. And some days it could just be stretching, some days going for a walk, some days doing a little calisthenics in the house, whatever it is, just move. And then sitting down, okay, what do I need to do today? And start working towards that. So that is my typical day. And on a day by day basis, it changes. Sometimes I have to go work at the hospital. Sometimes I have to go to the gym. Sometimes I have a client online. So again, really having a plan, getting clarity as to what is important today, what is important next week, and following through with that.
That is beautiful. When you think of unwinding, you move at a very fast pace. How do you unwind and recharge your batteries?
This is funny because if you asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, I am not a meditator. I don't like to sit still and just calm down. And I
Yeah,
have learned that that is key. You have
yeah.
to do that. You can't just run on 100 or 1,000% because your body is going to shut down eventually. So I always try to end the day with a little bit of, again, gratitude. The same way that I begin my day, I end my day with gratitude, but moment of stillness, moment of going deep within to see what did I do well today? What could I improve on? And I am so grateful for the things that I have in my life and just relaxing. That is very, very important. A lot of times, I like to end the day with some sort of stretching or going for a walk because that calms me as well.
Mm-hmm. What do you think when you look at the fast pace of technology, AI, and all the things that are moving this world faster?
Mhm.
How are you kind of embracing innovation and technology, but yet staying true to Nancy?
I always keep uh, very dear to my heart the things that are important to me and have helped me get through. And that is, again, some of the things that I incorporate as well at the end of the day is journaling. However, that has taken a little bit of a twist and turn because of technology. AI has come into our lives, and whether you like it or not, it is just taking over, right? And not really taking over. If we see it as it's an assistant in a way, I have done that tremendously because when I journal, when I write all the things that I need to work on, I use AI and it has tremendously saved me time. It's unbelievable the things that it can do. So instead of resisting and saying, I don't want change, I embrace that because that is really helping me get to a higher level, save time, see things differently as well. So it's almost like an assistant that has a broader view of the world. Obviously, it's based on a lot of scientific research and data that's out there. So it allows me to see things from a different perspective, yet staying true to who I am.
Mm, that is so beautiful. What when you look at adversity
Mhm.
and you look at some of the tough times in your life, what did you grow and how did you get through those difficult times?
Because I have had to go through so many difficult periods in my life, I now see it as part of the process.
Hmm.
Every single human being, all of us, no matter some of them a little bit more serious, as you know, as it happened to you as well. Some people, it's going to be much more difficult of a challenge, and but others maybe not so much. However, every single human being is going to face adversity at some point or another. And if we just see it as part of the process of growing, of building resilience, of getting through a certain point to get to something better, it's going to make it that much easier. We will get through it sooner instead of just dragging it on, or what's even worse, remaining stuck because so many people spend years, perhaps maybe weeks, months, but I have seen, unfortunately, people stay years stuck in
Hmm.
that place and they just feel that this is how my life is going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And to me, there's nothing more heartbreaking because they have so much life on the other side of that adversity. So once they decide, this is part of the process, I have to go through this, but I am going to learn and I'm going to see the silver lining. On the other side of that lies opportunity and hope and growth and something so much greater than you ever imagined. So my advice to my clients is just embrace it. We have to go through this and obviously take time to mourn. Sometimes it requires mourning because it's a lot more difficult, but
Hmm.
know that you're going to get through. Know that on the other side lies greatness. So just get through it with grace, with kindness, with empathy, with compassion, and know that on the other side, there's something so much better. And just knowing that, it's like, okay, I have to get through this, but I know that I can do it. And every single human being has that capability as well to get through it. There's always hope, always, no matter what.
Yeah, that is so true. We're part of a growth day community of personal growth. And I often talk about like people take physical showers to clean, but we
Mhm.
don't always take mental showers to really keep our minds sharp and open to things. How has personal growth and growth day helped your journey?
Tremendously. And growth day is just one part of the equation for me because
Mhm.
it gave me a different way of viewing at life. And so do all the other things that I have been involved with.
Mhm.
Personal development is something that I never considered before. It was almost like going to the university or perhaps finishing a certificate or just getting through life on a day by day basis. Sometimes I'm just going to go through it. And personal development, personal growth, because it is, we're growing as human beings, has become fundamental
Yeah.
in my life. I am now seeing life in a totally different way. It almost seems like it opened up a world of opportunities. And
Mhm.
when you have the right tools, when you have the right people, when you have the right framework, and that's what Growth Day gives us, and also other programs that I'm using, that allows us to move forward so much easier and truly enjoying the process, because at the end of the day it's not just getting from point A through or to point Z, but it's really enjoying the process. And that has allowed me to discover a whole new world, and I am loving every single day. I wake up excited, and that's something that I try to teach my community, that
Yes.
you have that available. All of us do.
Yes, it is so true. I read a stat that, reading is declining.
Mhm.
And I do a routine where I read 10 pages and I read it aloud each day. How are you using reading in your personal growth?
Because I am so busy, I don't have a lot of extra time. I try to use even just driving in the car, I'll put in a podcast instead of listening to news that bring me down, that really take away all the energy and just really bring me down emotionally, mentally. I listen to empowering podcasts, information that I need, perhaps something to get me better, to be able to help my community better, and just enjoy time a lot more. So that's a lot of what I do. Um, Really listening to podcasts, reading articles. Once in a while, I have a long list of books that I want to read, and your book is going to be next on my list as well. Congratulations, by the way. I'm so
Thank
proud of you. I know that you have put in so much work and you're doing amazing work to help others. So yeah, that unfortunately, because I don't have a lot of time,
Yeah.
it's almost at the end. I'll read 10, 15 minutes sometimes. But the podcast, there's so much free information available. And it's what we really almost like put our antenna towards, right? What am I going to allow into my mind? What am I going to allow into my body? Like nutrition. What is going to nourish me? What is going to make me a better person? And that's tremendous. Really, we have so much information. However, I do want to say something.
Hmm.
Because of that amount of information, it can become overwhelming, right? It tells you, you have to do this, you need to listen to that, you need to do that. And it can become overwhelming. So you have to be cautious as to what you listen, what you allow to
Hmm.
enter your mind.
Yeah, that is so good. I was never one that really comprehended books. I'd read a couple pages and I'd go, "What did I just read?" You
Yeah,
know,
read again. Yeah.
started using Notebook LM where I first put the book in the chat and I get my 10 main points and it knows me because I've been using the model. But then I put it into Notebook LM and it gives me a podcast, it gives me a video, it gives me shorts, it gives me a presentation. Now then when I read all that, I speed read more than I ever had and comprehend more just by activating the brain in a different way. What have you discovered? Like, if you were going to give advice to a 20-year-old Nancy and
Mhm.
you were going to tell her one thing, what would you tell her, and what would that advice be?
Especially at that young age, and this happens to be my favorite group to coach. My There are a couple groups, but I really love to coach kids that are middle school, high school, because they're going through so much change. And at that point, we only know so much, right? When we go back to that age, Nancy at 17, her goal, her focus, her identity was all revolved around gymnastics. As you
Mhm.
know, part of my story, my dream was to go to the Olympics, and I was on the route towards doing that. And I didn't know about all the other parts. So, what I would tell Nancy is that you are not just an Olympian in the making. You are not just a gymnast. You are not just an athlete. There's so many other aspects to Nancy, and you have to nourish that as well. Your relationships, everything else that is important in our lives, you need to remember that that is just as important. And who you are, there's so many facets and so many beautiful facets, and it's important to work on that. And that's one of the reasons why my work is more integrative. Actually, our company, the LLC, is called Integrative Fitness, but because I truly believe that to succeed in life, and you know this as a high performance coach as well, to succeed in life, we need to be doing well on all areas. We can focus, for example, we can focus on our career and put all our energy and effort into that. But if our relationships are suffering, we're not going to reach the highest level, right? If we really focus on getting our mental health as great as possible, but we're not eating well, we're not going to get as high as possible. And one example that I use with my athletes, because I coach athletes as well, is that have fun with what you're doing. Don't just focus on your sport, because if you put everything, you're going to burn out eventually. And if that's taken away for whatever reason, or if that comes to an end, what is left behind? So we really need to focus on all areas of our lives.
Yeah, that is so good. Now, public speaking is the second biggest fear to dying. And I know you have leaned into speaking and being a keynote speaker. How did you overcome that normal fear of stepping on the stage? Would you share that with our viewers, what that process was like?
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. It's funny that you speak about that because, as you mentioned, I have now become a speaker. And that for me was the number one fear. If you told me a year ago you're going to be standing on stage delivering a keynote, I would have said, there is no way. Even worse in meditation, there is no way that I'm going to do that. I never like to be the center of attention.
Hmm.
But the way that I overcame that is that it is just a fear, like anything else that we really put our mind towards accomplishing. There's fears and doubt and uncertainty that are going to pop up, right? We can't let that define us. We can't let that. So by really not focusing on the fear, by not putting all the attention on Nancy and people are looking at me and I don't like that, and by rather just putting the focus on what truly matters, and it's making a difference in people's lives, and using
Hmm.
my story to help somebody else that might be stuck or in despair or in a really dark place, to show them that there is hope and possibility. When you make that shift and say, this is not about you, it is about what you can do for others. And it's about, I am a believer in lighting the path and serving and helping others. And
Hmm.
this is about that. It's about sharing your message so somebody can get out of that dark place that they're in, or perhaps maybe just dream again. And that's one of the parts of my speaking, that we all have dreams that we have put in a shell because we think it's too late, it's too impossible, we're not good enough. We allowed fear and doubt to ground us and keep us grounded. And by saying, no, this is it. I'm going to focus on the other side, on what lies on the other side. Oh my gosh, just a whole new world opens up and it's just unbelievable. So your
Yes,
focus on where you're putting your focus on.
I love that because it is something that, because I do live events and I'll have people that'll say they'll have all the excuses of why they can't attend and be a speaker. And I know what it is, but if
Mhm.
we step into it, we allow that fear to have a control over us that never honors our self and our future. What
And
would
the
you
thing
say?
is that fear, I'm sorry,
Go
fear
ahead.
is
No.
always going to be there. Always.
Yes.
Fear, doubt, uncertainty. We have a couple voices always in our head, right? Another one, I really want to do this. No, but you're not good enough. Or, oh my God, this is great. Something that's pulling you and calling you. But then you have that voice, that uncertainty and doubt and fear. And so that's going to be there. So no, it's part of the process. It's not that you are less. Every single phenomenal keynote speaker has that fear, but when you just redirect your focus and really think about what you're accomplishing, it just shifts your perspective.
It truly does. I think it was in Growth Day, but I'm not sure. It might have been just a video I was looking at, but the person, this was really cool. I've never seen this before. They had the word impossible,
Mm-hmm.
and they took I and M and they crossed it out, and it read the word possible. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of like so many things we think are impossible, but if we just reframe it, it just
Absolutely.
the way we
Mm-hmm.
think. But I thought that was kind of cool to see a visual of crossing out two letters and what it actually meant when you looked at that word. What
I
would you
love it.
say?
I've seen it too. I've seen it that,
Really?
and also when you think about the two letters, I am possible. So
Yes.
I love that it puts it into you that you have possibility. You are able to create whatever it is that you want to create.
Yes, that is so good. So, what is Nancy most excited about in the future?
A couple of things.
Okay.
So we have created this online academy, and I have already seen success with some clients. And to see somebody coming into the program with fear, with doubt, with overwhelm, with frustration, and not knowing how to go. And to see them come out on the other end, excited to wake up every day, excited to work towards something that truly matters to them, because again, what matters to you is different than what matters to me. So it's very, very individual, right? I love that. So my goal is to grow that academy because I want to help more and more people, and the results that I've seen are tremendous, and it just brings me so much joy. I absolutely love it. So I have that, and keynote speaking, that is moving forward. As you know, but your viewers don't know, I went to Australia to a speaking conference, and oh, unbelievable. The amount of the people that I met, the amazing human beings that want to share their story, that want to share their message, and I'm part of that community. And how we're trying to bring light and hope and, again, possibility to people's lives. So I cannot wait to expand that. And
Mhm.
also, I returned to something that was very important to me. My story was that I was an international elite gymnast on the way to world championships and then Olympic qualifying event. And that was taken away by a political decision. So I have felt that at my age, it's still something in the back of my mind that I feel it's not done yet. And I want to
Yeah.
return, but how am I going to do this at my age? And last year, I returned to track and field now as a master's athlete, and unbelievable the experience. This is my second competition. I was competing in Mexico City, where I was born, at the National Training Center, where that Olympic dream was crushed. Suddenly,
Uh-huh.
something new started. And that's how life works. When you open up to possibilities, all these serendipities and special moments. So I arrived to this competition again. Not only is it in Mexico, on the weekend where it was an anniversary of my dad's passing, so we got to do a special ceremony for him. But it was
Mhm.
at the National Training Center, my home for many years, right? And
Yeah.
it was unbelievable just walking in there and seeing the Olympic rings and all this stuff. Amazing. And then they asked me if I would deliver the athlete's oath. And that fear was like, me? There's no way I'm going to stand in front of everybody to do this. But
Yeah.
then I thought, this is an opportunity for you to start sharing who you are, what you're doing. So anyway, I did that in the opening ceremony, and that was just truly special. I did it in Spanish and in English, and I felt like I was honoring my mom and my dad who had recently passed away. So
Hmm.
it was just like a full circle moment. And then people kept saying, you need to do pole vaulting. And I thought initially, there is no way I'm going to start pole vaulting at my age. And they're like, I am telling you, there was a coach there at that competition. Please
Yeah.
give me an hour and I'm going to have you pole vaulting and you're going to win gold. And I'm like, no, I'm here to compete sprinting. So I did several events and um, again, just stepping into your fear. We won gold for the relay. So that was so special. But this coach kept telling me this. Well, this new desire just popped in my horizon. And now I'm competing as a pole vaulter. And last week I had a competition, and the height that I clear would have put me just in contention with very close to. I almost cleared the bar that won third place at nationals
Wow.
just last week, and I just started. So again, it's just something that the very first thought comes to your mind, saying
Yeah.
there is no way that I can do this. But then when you allow yourself to explore the possibility and dream, suddenly next February will be national international championships. So I'm so
Mm.
excited to go there. I'm training, and my goal is to be on the podium. We'll see how that goes. The body has to cooperate for sure. But then the month afterwards is world championships. So my goal is to go to world championships. It happens to be in Florida. So my coach is going to be going in. And I just feel
Yeah.
that nothing of this would have happened. I would have died with regret, like, oh, with this sad story in my life had I not taken a risk. And that's what I want to teach people. Whatever it is, maybe you always wanted to play the piano, or you wanted to travel around the world, or you wanted to learn a new language, or reinvent your career. Like I'm doing now with speaking. You
Mhm.
can do it at any age. Everything is possible.
Yes, so true. We are was part of a older group of people. The average age was 80, and I saw how
Love that.
some people just kind of drifted and they just stopped growing. And
Mhm.
challenging ourselves to do something new, like pole vaulting, like something that we've never done. They always say when you retire, do something completely different.
Mhm.
Get your brain thinking of something new. How
Mhm.
do you challenge yourself, and what do you do to kind of get your mindset in that focus?
As you know, growth, in order to grow and in order to improve, we should not just like aspire to go again from point A to point Z. Life is going to be, you start growing, you fall down, you start growing, you fall down. And every single day, I try to move forward. My philosophy now is not focusing on the past, but really looking at what can I do now to go forward? Where do I
Mhm.
want to be a year from now? So at the beginning of every year, and this can start at any point, right? I set up goals like, what do I want to accomplish this year? And
Mhm.
last year, it was the writing the book and hopefully becoming a bestseller, and it did. It was returning to athletics, and it did. And it was creating our academy, and I did. None of that would have happened if I didn't just sit down. I became clear on what my goals are. And then
Mhm.
I started to make little steps, incremental steps, because we don't want to, if we fall, we don't want to just go back to that baseline because then we're not growing, right? It's just, what do you want to do? And when people retire, they're just, they believe, oh, I'm just going to go sit down and sit on the porch or and just do nothing, watch TV. You still probably have another 50, 60 years now, especially with AI. They're saying we're going to live up to 120, 25 years, right? So we have phase two of our lives. What do you want to do in phase two? What lights up your soul? And then what I teach now, I have come up with this framework, which is called the GPS framework.
Mm-hmm.
GPS is the roadmap to get us to where we want to go, right? Location wise. Well, my GPS framework is something that has gotten me to that next level through so many times in my life. And it's so simple. It's not that it's easy, but it's very simple. And I teach this GPS framework to people. And the very first step, the G, is gain clarity. Because if we're not clear as to where we want to go, we're not
Mm-hmm.
going to get there. And you know this as a high performance coach, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, just follow that framework myself and
Mm-hmm.
just keep on growing. Just decide what you want to do, gain clarity, what your vision is. What do you want to do in life? What do you want to accomplish? And also very important is make a commitment to yourself. I'm doing this. No matter what, I am doing that this year. And I can guarantee that by the end of your time period, or maybe it might take a little bit longer because sometimes there are situations, you will get closer to that or accomplish it without a doubt.
It is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I have a person that she lives in town. She moved from like Montana, small town, into big city of Atlanta and just trying to navigate around. But she's a brain coach. So she
Wow.
helps people with that journey. She spent 30 some years as a nurse, director of nursing. And so she saw how when people don't take care of this, what can happen. How do you take care of your brain? Do you do anything like certain foods, certain things that it helps honor your brain health?
Absolutely. For me, the most important thing is proper sleep.
Hmm.
I have lupus, and one of the things that I've noticed throughout life, I've had for most of my life, this disease. And I know that if I don't get around 7 or 8 hours of sleep, I start having problems. And I can go a couple of days without it, but then little by little, I start feeling not well. So
Hmm.
sleep is the most important. And we know that the brain requires the 7, 8 hours of sleep to be able to recharge and grow new neurons because it's constantly growing. So
Yes.
super important, the sleep, and then the proper nutrition. The essential oils, right? Is when the avocado and olive oil, all those things that when I was growing up, it was avoid because it's fat. Well, they're good fats, and the brain needs that. It is so important. So supplements that really will help you with brain health. I do that as well.
Hmm.
And just good nutrition, sleep, and supplements, and learning.
Hmm.
Learning. Our brain has created so many neural pathways, and that's what we're doing. And so many people, I've heard this over and over. Well, that's the way that it is, and that's the way that I am. You can change that. And yes, it might be a little difficult, and you know that more than anybody, right? We just have to create new neural pathways and little by little, just reinforce that. And by learning something new, that's exactly what you're doing. You're keeping it healthy and vibrant.
It is so beautiful. So I want to be respectful of your time, Nancy, because it's close to dinner time. But tell our viewers if they're looking for a keynote speaker and what how can they get a hold of you and what would be the steps to get your book?
So my book is on Amazon, The Flip Side of Despair, and I can, once you publish this, I can put in the information, but our online academy, unboundsynergyacademy.com, it's simple enough, has all the information about my programs, and also about Keynote. If anybody were to look for keynote speaker or transformational coach, motivational coach, I work with athletes. I work with organizations that want to get to the next level. And I also love working with women that perhaps are at a point in their life, whether it is due to illness or major challenges or divorce or having to go back to the workforce and they don't know how. I work with them with my programs to try to get them to that next level. So all of that information is on my website, our website, unbouncedenergyacademy.com. And I'm in LinkedIn, I'm in Facebook, Instagram, all the regular social media platforms. And it would really, truly be my honor to help people get to their next level and truly enjoy life during that process.
Awesome. And we'll put in the show notes those links. So if you're listening
Perfect.
and you
Thank you.
write those down, we'll put them in there so you can get a hold of Nancy. So final question, what would be the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
Dreams do not have an expiration date. And I want you to really think about that dream that you always wanted to accomplish, that because of circumstances, thinking that it's too late or I'm not good enough or that's impossible. Like you said, you put it on a shelf. It is asking you and telling you it is not too late. This is the moment where you can decide, I am going to go after that. And just, it is simple. The process is simple. It is not easy, perhaps. It could be a little bit harder, but it will transform and change your life. And that dream is waiting for you just to say, what if it isn't over? Because it isn't.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Nancy, for taking
Thank
the
you.
time to be with our community and share.
Oh, my
And
pleasure.
it's been a real pleasure of having you on. So thank